And we are back, folks, with another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the defense with Vance Bedford. And Vance was like, "Hey, man, I don't know what doo-doo tastes like, but I bet you it's like that we saw last week, because it was bad. It was bad. It was real bad. I mean, it was so bad that Sharon got in front of the media at the press conference and said, listen, I ain't gonna tell y'all what was said or who it was said to. Just know we had some serious conversations behind closed doors as a team. And that's gonna be kept within the team. But basically, he said we had to take accountability. I had to take accountability as a coach. I had to hold my coaches accountable. I had to hold my players accountable. We had to hold one another accountable last week. And I wanted to see, we needed to respond versus Washington. And Vance Bedford, that team went out there and responded.
I tell you what, Sam, I feel the stress. You see my beard turning white, man. I don't use no dye either. I mean, that's stress watching them boys play. But I want to tell you what, they went out and they played really well. They played a lot of young players, especially in the secondary. And they executed the game plan like it should be executed. They played within the scheme. They played hard. They played fast. It appears that Wink and the defensive staff, they cut back on some of the things they had. So they simplified the game plan because they played younger guys, and they were very effective in doing some things. And certain guys stood out. Payne early on. First couple of series, he did some nice plays as defensive tackle. Then I didn't see him as much. So they rotating guys a lot, trying to get a feel for who those guys are. But I thought Payne should have played more than what he did, because a few plays I saw him in the first 2 or 3 series, I'm like, they might have found something here. And then he just disappeared. So I'm an old school guy. I'm not an NIL guy that works, but juniors and seniors trying to get to the league, Sam, I'm finna play my dogs. I got to find my starters. Who are those guys that when the game on the line, I can count on those guys? And right now, the way they rotating guys, the D-line coach have no idea who his starters are. He really doesn't. And the linebackers played better, a couple of interceptions. And I like my man, I don't know all the guys' name, number 23.
Oh, that's cool.
He made some nice plays now. My other guy, Roder, he's good against the run. The other guy's good in the pass defense. But if you could just put them guys together, you got all conference players. I mean, so they both bring something to the table. So I think in the passing situations, my man 23 need to be in the ball game. He moves around well. He looks long. He makes some athletic plays. I like him in the run game, in the pass game. If they run in the football, man, put my man number 30 in the game. He's going to try to go hit somebody. Mm-hmm. But overall, I like how the guys played. They played aggressive. For the most part, they were aligned properly, and they ran to the ball. And Sam, I was concerned about the counter and the pin pull play. Sam, boy, them boys looked like they knew what they were doing. We shut that play down, didn't see it very much more. And the screen, they hit one screen, but we were so much better as far as the D-line retracing their steps, linebackers fitting. I mean, it was like night and day. What happened against USC was a nightmare. I mean, but we came back this week, Sam. We look like the Michigan defense is supposed to look. I was really excited to see how those guys performed, and they did a tremendous job.
So you made you've been calling stuff out all season, even in wins. You were calling out, they need to fix this. And that's not unique to this season. 21, 22, 23, we talked about it. 22, you said, hey, this is going to come back to bite them. We looked at the playoff game and what bit them in against Texas TCU, right? What you called out came back to bite them. This year, to fast forward to now, hey, listen, Sam, they got to fit these gap runs, man. Sam, these zone pressures, man. Too many holes in these zone pressures. We've been talking about it for a while. Before they suffered a sort of an embarrassing loss. I mean, Oklahoma was close. USC wasn't close. So USC blows them out. They come back from that, and it's like, you got issues you got to fix coaching-wise, and you got issues you got to fix player-wise. It ain't just one side. It ain't just one thing. The coaching side, you said last week, Vance, if every time they go to Bear, or every time they go to 12 personnel, Wink respond with Bear, and it looked like they had 11 personnel in the Heat, and they walking up and down the field on him. If he come out in Bear this week, it's a problem. Vance, they came out in 12 personnel in this game. From the very beginning, you knew Jed was going to do it. You know what Wink didn't do? What didn't he do, Vance?
He didn't come out and bear. he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He played more what I call field defense. He got the guys lined up. And so they could adjust to anything that the team can do. When they go to Bear, he goes to 5 defensive linemen. He did not do that, which I think that's very smart on his part. He learned something. So you know what that also shows me, Sam? They were listening to you and I. They can lie and say they don't. They heard everything we said. The crystal ball is working, my brother.
Hey man, they were listening to you, Vance. I think, and I think, listen, I think, you don't have to be a coach very long to understand when your head get cracked like that. Because USC, and we didn't talk about this. USC had gotten embarrassed at Illinois. Before everybody expected for them to go in and beat the brakes off of Illinois, right? Because Illinois had gotten embarrassed, like it was like 63-10 by Indiana the week prior, and so people thought that USC was going to go do the same thing, and then USC go in there and get beat. It's like, what happened? So they got embarrassed, and they had a bye week before the Michigan game, so they could sit back for basically 2 weeks and look at everything that you had noticed, Vance, and figure out how to exploit it. And that's exactly what they did. And then, Michigan, they couldn't really adjust the player. They couldn't really adjust on the fly. And you got what you got. So, I think as coaches, they've been in the game long enough to be able to get in there and make some meaningful adjustments that the guys can actually execute. One of them being, hey, man, we ain't gonna go in there and get our heads cracked with a personnel package that our players can't adjust with in game. And so they learned their lesson.
They really did. And when I watched them in this game, I thought that Wink would go more to his old strong zone, the cover 3 we talked about last week. But he played a lot of quarter half. Okay, he did a lot of things to protect the corners. He also played cover 2. Now, I'm going to get ahead of this. Sam, there are some holes. Remember the play right before the half? They had that big pass play to get in position to go 7-7. They were in cover 2, and the nickel back didn't carry. They have some issues right now in their quarter half of cover 2 with vertical routes. I'm hoping that they clean that up, getting ready for Michigan State. I'm pretty certain Michigan State is looking at that right now. Let's go for a vertical. Let's work between the hash marks because the nickel back must be a young guy. He's not seeing things that's going on. But I don't get my grades early. D-line gets an A from Vance.
Oh, yeah.
Sam, the D-line, they get an A. They flat balled out.
Yes, they did.
The linebackers, I'm giving them an A-. They rotated guys in. I think overall they did some nice things well. My man 15 came off the edge a couple of times, had nice plays. The secondary now is a B or B-, Sam. There were a lot of holes back there. There are a lot of holes because guys not playing with vision, not seeing things. Now I'm saying this now. I'm hoping that they get that cleaned up for Michigan State because I'm certain Michigan State right now is seeing the same things that I saw. And they're going to go back and look at those things. They're trying to keep it simple. So therefore, they're trying to protect the corners with these coverages. This is how we got to attack these coverages. We're going to attack the nickel back and the Mike linebacker right between the hash marks. So let's get ready, fellas. I'm telling you what's going to happen right now.
Listen, you nailed it like you always do, Vance. Listen, if you're going to play a lot of two high safeties, you saying, all right, D-line, all right, linebackers, y'all better stop that run now. Y'all better stop that run. You better fit that run right. You better play it with physicality. Let's play some responsibility football. Let's play it fierce. And they did that. They did it. It was way better. So we talked about what they did on the coaching side to clean up how they weren't necessarily positioning the players like they needed to. Now it's the players' side of things to go out and execute better. And the players did their part by going out and execute better. They played with physical and they were on time in the right gap.
Sam, I got to go back. I'm an old guy. When I played corner, I never blamed the coach when I got beat. That was strictly on me. And this day and age, I call it the microwave age, is that it's not my fault, it's his fault. Sometimes the players got to stand up and say, coaches didn't play. We went out there and played. We didn't go out there and execute. I missed that tackle. I hit the wrong gap. And somehow we got to get to those things where the players take ownership of the team. You have a championship football team, the players take ownership. And right now, playing younger guys, the seniors that's on the field right now, those young guys will follow them. Those young guys in the secondary, Sam, I thought for the most part they did a great job. You have some execution things here and there, but they followed the leadership of Houseman. Houseman, I thought, did some good things. But again, they're doing a lot of things to protect a young secondary. Sam, they're still running two fires. In other words, it's too deep, one underneath, and bringing five. So that means if they bring out five guys, it's four guys underneath to cover five. They're going to always be wrong. And so now if you do that, you got to peel guys. If the back flares, if you're outside rushing, you got to peel that. Otherwise, that's too short. They got hit again in the first half. It was the 3-by-1 formation. The back is set weak. He went out. They had nobody on him, Sam. They were bringing a guy off the edge. That guy, to take that away, he has to peel. So eventually, in a 3-by-1 formation, they better start checking the cover three. Right now, we're going to have some issues against better football teams that's going to take advantage of what we're trying to do right now. But the defensive line and linebackers, for the most part, they did a good job fitting the run. Now we're going to play Michigan State now, bully ball. I don't care who the head coach is at Michigan State. Guess what they're going to do, Sam? They're going to try to punch you in the mouth. They're coming out the old Mike Tyson way. You know, they look good right now, but that first blow, like Mike be looking at you, moving that head like that, his eyes just be watching, Sam. You rocking the head, the eyes just can't wait. I'm going to hit you in the mouth, Sam. Let's see what you got. So Michigan, get ready for Mike Tyson early swing out. We withstand that, we will win that football game. We will win that football game.
I think the dude's job is on the line in this game because they've been terrible.
Ooh.
Right. And then they just got ran out of their own stadium by UCLA a couple weeks ago. Right. So it's already bad. You knew they were gonna lose to Indiana last week. I'm talking about a couple weeks ago. UCLA, no head coach. Head coach been fired, right? And and then they come to your house after they fire their OC. And then they run out, they beat the brakes off you at your own crib. Oh my God. You just it's terrible.
Michigan. It doesn't count. This is Michigan. Who cares?
Right.
The record goes out the window. This is personal. It's like playing against my brother. My brother went to that school. Hey, we brothers in the house, but now we got on this football field. We enemies. I hate you more than anybody else. I mean, it's a whole different mindset. And you have to go there in Sparty land too, where the fans, going to be drunk. The whole student body going to be drunk. They're going to be throwing things at you, calling your names. We don't bring our A game now. Our A game, Sam. It could be a long day at the office because it's Michigan State. And I learned that my first year in 95, we go down to Michigan State game we were supposed to win, and we lost. Mm-hmm. They had a 2-minute drive to drive the field to score a touchdown and win the game. There's no doubt they had two receivers, NFL player. The quarterback was an NFL player. Don't get me wrong.
And the ref had money on the game, so he had to, he had to do some things to win that money. So, but go ahead, Vance.
But it's a game we were supposed to win, and we didn't. So my point to you playing Michigan State, bring your A game. Just because they bad right now, they will not be bad Saturday versus the Wolverines. Big brother, little brother, if you come out there half stepping with a hand tied behind your back and little brother got both hands on you, he's finna Muhammad Ali you all over your face, baby. Come on, what we talking about? So offensively, defensively, special teams, we got to be on our best behavior, our A game. Wink got to call us best game of the year right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, don't get lulled to sleep because it's, first of all, like you said, Michigan State, this is their Super Bowl anyway. But this is not hyperbole when I say this. That Jonathan Smith, his job is on the line. Like he's got to win this game, or I think he's gonna get fired. Like I think it's that serious. I think he's out of there if he doesn't win this game. because there's no reason to keep him.
Sam, guess what? If that's the case, that means you're going to get halfback passes, reverse passes. I got a young secondary, eyes in the backfield playing cloud, safety's eyes in the backfield. We're going to get them on trick plays. So if that's the case, what you're saying this week, as a secondary coach, I'm trying to get my young guys to understand, keep your eyes on the prize. It's not the ball, it's the keys that's telling you what's going on. If I'm a safety, I'm a half-field guy, my key is number one. If he's not blocking, I'm back deep. It's not on the quarterback. If I'm in quarters coverage, as my receivers down the field, I'm not supporting the run. So the fundamentals are very important in this ball game. And the D-line to stop trick plays starts up front. And what we played this past week, we should be okay. I need Barham to be Barham. Okay. The USC game, okay, you're going to have a bad game. Throw it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need for him to be a tentative football play. I need for him to play like his hair is on fire. But you do that by reading your keys. He played this past week. He was tentative. He was playing not to make a mistake. He wasn't playing like he did versus Oklahoma when he missed the first half. He came out there pissed off. Mm-hmm. We need a pissed off Barham because they can't block him. But do it within the framework of the defense. And if he does that, he can destroy those guys by himself. He can put a hurt on those guys. We need him back.
Say, Vance, is Michigan State coach trying to pull that for sale sign out of his front yard, Vance?
Yeah, hey, Sam, he has an estate sale. Oh, my goodness. Hey, if we blow him out, if what you're saying, then he could get fired if it's a blowout game. So that's why every trick play in the book, they probably going to blitz the offense because you still have a freshman quarterback. They're going to try to confuse him and make a few plays. Don't be surprised with fake punts, onside kicks. Hey, they pulling everything out. It's a must-win game. So for practice this week, special teams, you got to be working on everything.
Man, listen, they're firing, and I'm talking about they, not in college football. Everybody's I know it's musical chairs. They fire coaches every year anyway. But Vance, I mean, this is a record pace this year for firing coaches. There's more coaches fired by this point in the season this year than ever before. You understand that? There's never been this many coaches fired by, what is this, week 8?
I know.
There's never been this many coaches fired by this point in the season.
I live here right in Loveland, Colorado. I'm 15 minutes from Colorado State. That guy got fired. This is only his 4th year. He won 8 games last year. He got fired. And think about this. Someone told me if they fired him after November, they owe him nothing. They fired him now, so they got to pay him $1.5 million for next year. So I don't understand all of those things. I mean, I had one of my Brick Haley who I work with in Texas. He sent me a text. He said, "Man, for Franklin, they fired him while he was on the planes, but he jumped with a parachute for $50 million." I said, "If they don't give me $50 million, I never had a parachute. I'm jumping too." Now, it's crazy right now. They find guys left and right. Everybody's they get a pecking order, Sam, trying to see, I want this coach here. So Penn State fired their guy, so Florida fired their guy. They all racing trying to get the coach they want right now. So it's a circus. It is a big-time circus right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's like 11 coaches already fired. That's crazy. And some assistant coaches been fired, too, at other places. Everybody's pointing the finger right now trying to stay their job. Last year, Mike Gundy fired 17 coaches. He got fired in 4 games this year. Think about that. When you start CSU last year fired the defensive staff, they were first in their conference in defense. He fired them, bring another guy in, now he's fired. It doesn't work. I mean, ride the horse that got you there because you don't have a choice. When you fire guys on your staff, that means you're next. Because you're pointing the finger and the AD knows it.
Yeah, I think Deshaun Foster, UCLA, fired his whole offensive staff. Like, you knew it was over. When you find a whole side of the ball, bro, it ain't going to work out.
And it's crazy right now. It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's not going to work out. Yeah, Vance, the meaningful adjustment. So before we get to the questions, I want to sort of draw upon your experience when in your career you had a situation like USC where it was because I asked Al this question when, hey man, everybody's at fault. You know, your game plan was not on point. You didn't put your players in the best position. And the players, they obviously contributed to it too, because when they were in position, guess what they didn't do? You didn't execute. So you came back and hey, everybody got to look in the mirror first and hold themselves accountable. And then guess what? Now we got to hold each other accountable. Hey man, listen, we got to step up. I got to step up for you. You got to step up for me. We got to have some tough conversations about we need to pick it up. Can you recall in your career some times where those kinds of tough conversations, like Sharon talked about, really worked to your advantage and helped propel the team you were on up? Because that's the situation that Michigan hopes it's in right now. That this wasn't just a one-game blip. That this can really help propel them on to some championship success.
Now, I worked for a guy named Earl Bruce at Colorado State, and we lost a game like that. Earl said, do not show this video to the players. So what do you gain out of it? Say, throw it out, start on the next game. But what I would do, I would take 5 good plays out. I mean, let me show you who you guys really are. When you execute, look what can happen. Then I met with my seniors individually, one at a time. It's just time for you to step up and take ownership. So I got to take ownership as a coach to make sure I prepare you for the football game, but you have to take ownership as a leader of this football team. If you're not doing right, well, guess what? The young guys who are playing with you, they're not playing right either. So we're all accountable. We're in this thing together. We win together, we lose together. And so I'm trying to stay positive. Say, when we go to practice, man, fellas, it's not personal. I'm going to get after you right now. I won't get after you because you're the leader. And how you go, the young guys who are playing, that's how they're going to go. They will follow you. And so we went to practice, and I just started grinding guys. The details of the game, I didn't let anything slide. If you took the wrong step, you got called out right now. If you plant with the wrong step, you got called out. If your eyes in the wrong spot, you got called out. I'm trying to get you to focus. And I told the guys on the sideline, I would go to the sideline. What do they do right or wrong? I don't know. Well, give me 10 up downs right now because you're not paying attention. You should be a coach on the sideline to help us. So when he comes off from a series, if you're watching the game, hey, man, you should have done this because they're doing that. Your eyes should be here. So everybody has to tie into it right now. It wasn't just the coaches. It's the players also. Because if the players don't take ownership, you're not going to win. I don't care what the coach is saying do. They have to be a big part of the transition and change also. And look at the secondary this week. You had 2 new safeties in the ball game. Okay? You rotated guys at corner. One guy's a freshman. The nickel back, I mean, he's been struggling a lot through the year. He's struggling in this ball game somewhat also, young guys. So therefore, you have to keep it simple for those guys. So now it's on the front 7 to bring this football team home. So now I'm going to grab the whole D-line together as a coordinator. Don't talk to them as a group. Let me tell you something, guys. We're only going to go as far as you guys take us. And what we saw against USC, we're going nowhere because that was just pitiful. We didn't execute. We didn't get off of blocks. We didn't run to the football. We didn't spill the football when we were supposed to. You guys out there freelancing doing what you want to do. For us to move forward, I need for all you guys to buy in and to execute. You are the real dogs on this football team, so start leading us right now. So right now, what happens against the next ball game, we win or lose, it's going to be based on how you play. Guess what the D-line went out there and did, Sam? They flat balled out. So somehow they got to the D-line to step up, and they did. Because, again, you had 2 new safeties in the secondary. I mean, Hillman didn't play. Moore didn't play. I mean, so I'm looking at the game, guys on Twitter. Well, how come these guys not playing? I guess they hurt. Who knows? I mean, but more people worried about the guys not playing than the guys that are playing. That's the only conversation we need to have. Who's playing? Is he playing well? Is he not playing well? That's all that matters, Sam. But that's how I always did it. And Earl Bruce taught me that after we got killed one time. We had a good season, went down to BYU, and Lavelle Evans, it was his birthday. We got beat so bad, Sam. They started doing the wave in slow motion. I mean, Sam, I was getting seasick watching the wave in slow motion. I was like, boy, this is so ugly. But it was bad. On the way to the stadium, our bus broke down. It was just a comedy of errors.
Well, was Tony there? Was Tony there at that time?
Let me see. Yeah, Tony was there. Tony was there. That's the year we go 9-4. We beat Oregon in a bowl game. But that game there, Sam, it was so ugly. I mean, we couldn't do anything right on defense or offense. It was just one of those days. And what happened in the USC game, it was one of those days. That's all it was. It's out of here. We're moving forward right now. We learned a lot, and we're going to grow from that game, which we did this past weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great stuff. Great nuggets from Vance. And I imagine a lot of that sentiment was in practice this past week. Now they got to sustain it, keep the same mindset going against an opponent that on paper is not the same, but mentally and the way they come into this game, they're gonna bring. It's gonna raise their level of play.
Sam, you remember last year, all the uproar the fans were having because Michigan State on 3rd down and long about 6 times they ran the ball for 1st down. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we had to talk about that. So, in last year, especially talent-wise, because our 2 big fellas inside, we're a lot better defense. Let's be for real. And they went up and down the field on us. So, again, we need to be careful about what their record is. No, it's Michigan and it's Michigan State. So understand that if you look at the record, then you're in big trouble. You don't understand what a rivalry game is.
Yes, sir. All right. If you have questions for Vance, put them in the chat. We're about to get to his grades. He already previewed. His grades, but we'll get to this segment where we always set aside for the grades, and then we'll get to the questions for Vance. If you have questions for Vance, put them in the chat right now. Super chatters, we always push you to the top. But if you have questions for Vance, put them in the chat right now, and we'll start knocking those questions down. But Vance, give us your grades, my friend.
8 with the D-line. We played the screen better. I mean, they hit one screen for a big play, but otherwise, not that we played the screen better. We stuffed the run a lot better. The counter did not hurt us. They get an A. Linebackers get an A-. Got an interception. They fitted the run better in this game, I thought, than any game we played so far this year. And we rotated guys in there. They did a good job. Secondary, B-. I mean, there are a lot of holes in that secondary right now as far as execution. The play right before the half, they ended up getting a touchdown. They threw one down the middle of the field. We were in cover 2. The nickelback tried to reroute the slot, missed him. And the safeties were way too wide. We had no chance. And that happened several times in this game with our alignment of the safeties in cover 2. So if we don't clean that up, Michigan State can get after us and throwing the football. If I'm Michigan State, Sam, I'm throwing the football, Sam. No, but that's why I'm on the sideline. If I'm a guy playing for my job, I'm Michigan State. I'm looking at our secondary and the young guys. I'm throwing the rock. I'm throwing the rock on. You think I'm running it? I'm throwing the football. 1st and 10, I've been in run team. I'm throwing the ball on 1st down. 3rd down and 8, I'm running the football like I did last year, because if you go to dime, that means it's going to be holes in there. You got extra linebackers in there trying to line up a defensive lineman. I'm doing the opposite of what I've been doing the whole year, trying to steal some downs. So for the secondary, we need to do a better job as far as, number one, disguising and executing the defense. The little details of the game, if we don't, it's going to hurt us against Michigan State.
Yeah.
Somebody said, don't give me the ideas. What are we talking about, Sam? I'm giving our coaches an idea of what they should be doing as far as cleaning things up. People have been listening to us all the time. I already know that. I know that. I mean, so I'm trying to give you fans, so as you watch the game, you can see things that we talk about. If it's not cleaned up, you say, Vance talked about that. There it goes.
Yeah, I think on one of those zone pressures, man, I think, or one of those screens, I think, I want to say, I'm trying to remember the
was
play.
it a big play or one Barham got for a tackle for loss?
Now, not the one Barham got for a tackle for loss. I think they did everything. I think they did everything right on that particular play. It was one where they wound up cutting it. It wasn't even a screen. The running back wound up coming across the grain.
It was an angle route.
Okay, yeah.
Angle route. Okay, they were in a cover. It was a match coverage. That was number 23. He had to take the guy man to man, but he got head up trying to play for the outcut. The guy came right back inside. He caught it for a big play or middle of the field, because we were totally matched up, like we were playing some form of on the 2-man or whatever it was. So there's nobody else left. It went for a big play. I know what play you're talking about. It was number 23.
Yeah. so there are only a few plays like that, but it's the kind of thing where you come back and you say, these are the kinds of things that you want to clean up coming out of a game like that. The big plays, the one that that he threw up in the first half and just felt like Zeke lost it in the air.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He did. On that one big play, the corner was shrinking. He fell down, and the receiver called it for a big play. I mean, things like that happen. I'm looking at one of the comments and that's Nichols. He's right. So one of a game is offense, defense, and special teams. And we're not putting much pressure on defense. This is a defensive segment. Al does an offensive segment. And there's no doubt. If your offense is playing poorly, your defense has a good chance to struggle. It takes both to do it. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes, like USC, the defense was just awful. They were just awful. And that's one reason why we didn't look very good. If we played halfway decently on defense versus USC, the game would have gone to the fourth quarter with a chance to win the game because USC is just an average football team.
Yeah. All right, folks, it's going to be time now to get to the questions for Vance. Time to get to the questions for Vance. Steve Horn said, "You're Nostradamus, and Borges is the key." Yes,
oh,
sir.
My goodness.
All right. We get to the questions. Super chatters always go to the top. And as such, let's go ahead and knock our super chatters down. Mission Forward says, what are the 3 things a young secondary player needs to quickly become proficient at? Vance Bedford.
Footwork is very important, but your eyes. Your eyes need to be on your keys. And watching our young secondary right now, sometimes our eyes are not on the right keys. For example, let's say I'm a half field player. I'm playing cover 2, a quarter half. I'm to the half field side. A philosophy that I believe in is that half field state, his first key should be number 1. Where's his release? Then I come back inside to the quarterback as I fan the field. So if number 1 comes inside, I don't have to gain any width. Our stages are playing too wide. If you watch it sometimes, the middle of the field, not open, I'm talking about Grand Canyon open. It's tough on anybody. So their width needs to be corrected. If not, it might not be Michigan State. It's somebody else going to attack us down the middle of the field and we're going to be hurt. But again, your eyes are very important. That's everything right now. Footwork is key. And then always been in a football position to tackle.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back to looks like Anthony Henfield. He just wanted to throw in a super chat. He just threw in a super chat. And he just said, man, I'm just throwing it out there because I learned so much from Vance. I just got to throw a super chat in there just because. Appreciate
it.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go back to the questions for Vance. This one. Mission Forward 3. How well does Coach Vance think the D-line did in creating the necessary amount of chaos? I know you gave him an A, so you must have thought they did a really good job.
No one did great versus run, but one time Miami Moore had a sack. And the previous 2 weeks, some of the fans kept, Coach, we need to twist more. They had an edge stand on him. What that means is that the end, he took 1 step, came inside. The tackle, he engaged the guard, 1,000, 1,002, he looped outside. They ran that several times. Moore got a key sack in a crucial situation. So we are starting to do more things with those guys and not blitzing as much linebackers, which I think keeps it clean for everybody in fast defense. So those are things we've done. But I'll tell you what, my man, some of those guys up front in the first half against the run game, Sam, boy, they were stuffing it. The linebackers were clean. They knew where to fit. This might be one of their best games so far this year on how the D-line played.
All right, on to the next one. This one comes from Lance 1985. I love Barham's play, but I've noticed he's been getting caught up in some of the RPO plays and definitely on that 4th down play by Washington. Other than that, he's golden. Have you noticed that, man?
You know, they are dropping him sometimes based on the scheme, the defense. He dropped a couple of times in this game, but they've really cut back on doing that. For example, it wasn't Barham. I think it might have been Moore. They blitzed him from the boundary, so the defensive end, Moore was to the field. He was dropping. And the biggest thing is a lot of people like Lovie Smith, who I work for, from the Tampa system. Anytime there's a back in the backfield, that defensive end, right now I covered him, so everybody else adjusted. So a lot of times you putting those guys in a situation against USC, those guys have to cover tight ends. And so you have to be careful when you're dropping that guy to the field on who they're covering. If I had 20 plays as a defensive coach, Borham might drop one time. Because guess what? I want him to cause chaos by rushing and passing. And that's just a philosophy I have that the guys I've been around with. I got a pass rusher. He dropped him 1 out of 20 times. That's it. Man, hey, go hunt that quarterback for me. Cause chaos, protect my secondary. But that's just a philosophy I have.
All right. So you said if Wink came out in Bear versus 12 personnel this week or last week versus Washington after getting beat in it so bad versus USC, it'd be a problem. Let's Toast Media said Bear was hiding versus Washington. Man said Bear was hiding, man.
Hey, he is hibernating. Winter's starting to come. We're in fall here right now, so he was hibernating, which was a good thing. Because I'll tell you what, right now, if I'm on offense and I see Bear defense, I'm going to automatic check on you. USC showed me something. I'm going to check and get some things cleaned up, trying to get a linebacker in a tough situation. This is what happened to us this past week versus Washington. They ain't 11 personnel, Sam, but they came out in doubles. In other words, it looked like 4 wide receivers. They were putting the tight end to the field and the 2 fast receivers to the boundary. We got lined up wrong 3 times. The nickelback was going into the boundary. Nobody was going to the slot to the field. So those are some things that needs to be cleaned up. In other words, that's the FSL formation.
Didn't they run a screen out of that?
I can't recall that, but they had some guys running freeze off and take. Nobody was walking out on the tight end, Sam. They tried to, again, they're in too high. When you put the nickel back into the boundary and you get 2 receivers split to the field, a tight end or whomever it is, I mean, the linebacker got to walk out. And they didn't walk out. And so they weren't covering down. So it was a linebacker, and the young safety was not wise enough to go down and tell that linebacker, hey, cover down. In other words, they got a guy out here. We need you to come out here. And those are some things they got to clean up. I was an old school guy. Well, I go back to Jesse Minter. And that particular formation, because it was a 4 wide look, he didn't send the nickel back to the boundary because it was zone football. Even though it was a tight end removed out wide, he said, we're not going to worry about that. To me, that's 4 wide receivers. But Wink was more matching up. So if you do that, the pressure is not on the linebacker because USC did some of the same things to us, Sam.
Do you remember who he had playing nickel at that point? I have to go back and look.
Sam, I can't recall it.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember on one play wondering if Suge was lined up on the wrong side, but I have to go back and look and see. And I'll even ask the question, and I'll come back and report next week about that. All right, here is another. DJ Sin City said Michigan laid an egg. The bye week killed Michigan against USC. I think that is absolutely true. If we played them before the bye, they would have gotten beat. They wouldn't have gotten beat. I definitely think the game would have been different for sure if they played them before the bye.
I agree. I think the game would have been different. Whether we won or lost, I'm not going to say that because that game's over with, but it would have been different. I totally agree with that
100%. This is a great observation. Ricardo Douglas official said, is it just me or did Washington run most of their screens to the boundary? USC ran to the field. I definitely saw screens to the boundary. I don't know if most of them were to the boundary, but I saw screens.
I don't think most of them were there, but again, we were prepared for the screen. The D-line especially was prepared for the screen, but he's right because one time I think Barham, it was in dime, Barham lined up over the guard standing up, and he made the play into the boundary for a tackle for a loss. I remember that play, but again, our D-line did such a better job defending the screen. I imagine they worked on that quite a bit, Sam. Certain plays, they worked on it and did a good job. It paid dividends.
Yeah. All right. Steve Horn said, boy, Vance, you're a tough grader, Vance. Linebackers had 2 interceptions. Coach, I mean, can't we get a little A-? It's like, wow.
Sam, you can count to 3. You can play for me. I'll be looking at pass coverages too. I mean, I look at everything. Run, fits, pass coverage. there's some things, again, that we still need to get cleaned up. It's also based on how the nickelback aligns as far as what the linebackers are doing. It all tied together. So we need to clean some things up moving forward. They did some good things, but still A-. And you're right about that. I am a tough grader. You have to be. That's the only way you can get better.
All right. In the third quarter, this is from DJ Sin City. In the third quarter, we couldn't. I'm not sure what he's saying, but he said the mic got to the wrong side of the formation and didn't get under number 3 and left a hole in the defense and a wide open wide receiver.
Sam, we playing some 2 fires. They sending 5 guys out, you're short. That's part of the things that they have to get cleaned up. So there's some things like that, again, when you're running 2 fires, they sending 5 guys out, that's a problem. But going back to some earlier ball games, we had some issues with the mic and the wheel and coverage down the middle of the field and too high. From the Dagger route is number 2 is clearing out, and number 1 is running a squaring route about 15 yards deep. We've had issues with that. Or you come back with number 2 is doing like a 5-yard route, and behind him is running a 15-yard squaring route again, working between the hashes. And again, that's been open throughout the year. So those are some things that we must get cleaned up moving forward. And again, if I'm missing a state, and I'll say this again, I am going to throw the football on Michigan. I am going. My job on the line, Sam. I'm going to work your secondary linebackers over. If my job's on the line, I'm going to throw the football between the hashes. That's where I'm going. Screens and everything else. I am throwing the ball between the hash marks. I'm sending 5 guys out like USC did, and the ball's coming out quick. I'm not going to let you get to me. And anytime you got a zone blitz on, you're going to be short. But again, that's why I'm on the sideline. That's why Michigan State's in trouble.
Peter Anderson, 35-23, said, "Why was Derek Moore so effective in this game?" He said he's kind of disappeared in others. Why do you think he was so effective in this game?
Sam, they twist the front more. Again, we did an edge stunt. His sack came off the edge stunt. So they're doing more things with him. And again, when you start rotating guys in, if you are a competitor, you get pissed off and you get hungry and you got to go out there and show, I'm the guy should be in the game and the game on the line. Why? I do it in practice for you every day. And I think he has stood up to the challenge. I don't think he's sitting back pouting and crying that, well, coach don't like me or he like this guy more. He's showing what he's all about. And that's why he's playing well right now. He's been challenged. He stood up to the challenge. My hat's off to him. Son, keep doing what you're doing. That's the Michigan way. Those are the kind of players we wanted to, versus Michigan. Guy, if we challenge you, you're not going to sit and pout. Coach, I'm going to show you something right now. That should be the guy.
All right. Jay Marion 23 said, Coach, Houseman didn't hesitate this week. He was hitting the gaps. What do you think?
He did. They also blitzed him off the edge over time, Sam. He made some plays. Now, I got to bring this up. Now, a couple times he came off the edge. He wasn't aware of a cut split by X, and the quarterback got outside of him twice. So when you're edge blitz against a scrambling quarterback, be aware who can block you.
Mm-hmm.
But athletically, I've been a fan of his since the latter half of last year, the second part of the season. He is so athletic. In space, he does some things that other guys can't do. Mm-hmm. Now I need him to step up with his awareness at times and play smarter.
Yeah.
Okay? Sometimes just being athletic is not good enough. Now take your game to the next level. The linebackers we had the previous couple of years, they weren't as athletic as Houseman, but man, they had great awareness.
Yeah. You remember a couple of years ago now, I never forget this. This was one of the times that what you were talking about cut splits and awareness of an edge guy kind of really came home to me. It was against Nebraska. It was Mike Moore, big edge guy. It was against Nebraska. It was in a goal line sequence. And he noticed the guy that was coming to crack him. And he looked that dude up before the snap. Man, that dude thought he was coming to crack him. He blew that dude up so bad because he knew he was looking for him. Blew his ass up.
Sam, but to me, the difference between a good player and a great player knows what's going on around him. Remember Ohio State, this is 3 years ago. and they were going to empty and running a drag route. And my linebacker, remember, his dad used to always watch our show.
Mike
He,
Barrett.
was, he wasn't in the game, and they hit us with a play. 2 series later, we're in the same situation. He made the play because he was in the game. He got everybody lined up. Football awareness. And that's what I need to see Houseman take his game to the next level to understand what's going on around him. Athletically, I love the kid. He run around. I mean, he's athletic in space. He can make some plays that other guys can't make. But now show me you understand the game of football. Because if you want to go play in the National Football League, it's a whole lot of guys with great talent. They don't play very long. They got no awareness. And they keep, well, I'm a better athlete. Yeah, you're a better athlete, but you're not a better football player.
Yeah, Mike Morris, and then they wound up making that play. They wound up stopping that play because Mike Morris blew up the dude who was coming to crack him, and so the quarterback couldn't get outside, and they wound up stopping the play.
We need to see more of that style of play out of our players.
Yeah. All right, Vance. This one from J.R. Morris, S4P, said, Vance, seems to me that Roller has been a liability blitzing the quarterback on passing downs. He seems to take the wrong angles and doesn't hit the correct gaps. Well, I don't know that he blitzes the wrong gap. I don't think that's the issue.
Sometimes he has Velcro on his jersey, Sam.
Yeah.
He runs to a guy and gets stuck. He's not a guy that athletically can beat a guy. With Houseman, he can get on the edge, come from the outside, from the inside. He can make things happen. But again, he's more athletic. And those are the things I'm talking about. He has a natural feel for that thing, how to go on the edge or how to give a guy a head and shoulder fake and get open where my man Roller, he's just going to try to run right through a guy. So he got Velcro on him. He's easy to block. I mean, so that means if the back is blocking him and somebody else got a one-on-one up front, they should win. The whole idea about a guy blitzing is that you're trying to get at least 3 guys one-on-one. You get 3 guys one-on-one, you're saying one of my guys is going to win that one-on-one situation. And against USC, it never happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can say that again, Vance. Vance, this is from my man Kwame. He said, Vance, too many young guys in the secondary, you think? And how do you bring them along?
Well, remember, you had some injuries this past weekend. Also, we playing early on with the injuries of various some other guys. You had 2 freshman corners out there. You know, Hill's been in and out. Barry's been in and out. So you don't have a choice. With the new era of transfer portal, guys are leaving. And so sometimes if you have a quality freshman, he will come in and he will play for you right now. And maybe some of the guys you had on your roster, maybe that freshman kid is a better football player and takes better coaching. I don't know, but we do have in this game here, play a lot of young guys. Because of that, that's why again we play a lot of 2 high and 40-quarter half. We're trying to protect them. That means on the front 6, because you're in 11 personnel a lot, you're trying to protect them. So all the pressure is on your 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers to stop the run. And so that can get you into some tough situations if they can't stop the run. And now it's going to force you to eventually go to single high.
All right. Another super chat from DJ Sin City. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, super chatters. Why are we struggling to get aligned on the defensive line? Also, I feel like our linebackers are struggling with counting to 3. Vance.
Well, let's go to the D-line first. Sometimes we running guys in and out of the field, off the field. I've seen that several times throughout the year. And so when you do that, who are you coming in for? What position I'm playing? I think that's the issue right there. Somehow you guys sit back and just start playing guys. And quit running guys on and off, trying to keep them fresh. And like you said, it might be NIL. I don't care about NIL. Who my best players go play? Other guys, you want to pout, then I'm not going to play you at all. That's how life is. Okay. And the next thing is for the linebackers counting the 3. Our situation several times going back to the USC game. Again, they were empty. If they have a back in the backfield, he's going out. So therefore, it's not just counting the 3. The whole count has changed right now. They're getting 5 guys out with 4 guys underneath. And so because of that, they have 1 more than we have. So if the backer drops to number 2, the number 3 is open. If he drops to number 3, the number 2 is open. So we've had some issues in 2 fires trying to protect the young secondary. So what you actually got to do in a 3-by-1 formation sometimes, you got to live with it and play 3 high, play cover 3. You don't have a choice.
All right, on to the next one. Great stuff from Vance. Great stuff from Vance. Grand Info said, Vance, are you more of a Jimmy Roller fan today than you were a week ago?
Jimmy is great versus run. I'm gonna keep going back to you. I like my other guy. If it's a passing situation, I like 23 more. Just been honest with you. And I think the coaches like Jimmy more. They know a lot more about him than I do. But I just say in space, which is where the game is played for a linebacker a lot of the time, the other kid is a better athlete in space. And I'm watching some television. I don't have all the video and watching him in practice. I think Jimmy's probably knows the defense better. He can execute better, could get lined up better. And that's why he's the guy that's in there right now.
On to the next one. Van Dam says, how would you help the DBs with tracking the ball? Seems they've been having some trouble with that.
That's one of the toughest things when you're recruiting defensive backs. Can they track the ball? And I used to use those jugs machine. Get that thing pointed high where the ball could come high and down. So I put them the DBs about 30 yards down the field like they're running and looking up for the ball. Just learning how to track the ball. I've had that issues in the past. Some guys will use a tennis ball. In all they drills instead of having a football, so the guys can totally focus on catching that tennis ball. And those are some things that you have to work on a lot to get the guys in position where they feel comfortable to track the football.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one, Vance, is about the Michigan State game. Says, what should be our game plan against MSU and quarterback Aidan Chiles and their receivers? And what's your score prediction? He is clearly their best player on both sides of the ball. Mobile quarterback, big dude, is their second leading rusher. What would be your game plan against him, Vance?
Same thing I had this past week. We just played a mobile quarterback, and for the most part, except for one play, we contained them pretty good. Next thing is we play a lot of quarter, half. Well, if that's the case, continue to do what you're doing. The same game plan, for the most part, should go into this game plan. Because you're playing the same type of players as far as quarterback. This guy's bigger, but the guy from Washington, man, he was athletic. I bet he was every bit of 4'5". And we did a good job containing him. And we eliminated the big plays really down the sideline to the receivers because we played a lot of cloud a lot of times to those receivers. So it helped us out. We made them have to drive the field, and they really couldn't. So really almost the same game plan with a few minor adjustments because of who we have to play.
And you put the cloud over Nick Marsh, number 6, they best receiver.
Same thing we did versus Ohio State last year. We always clouded to the big boy, to Smith. So we do the same thing right now. We're in good shape.
All right. Yeah, he's the guy. And, he's going to be personal for him. Somebody asked me in the chat, they said, Sam, what do you think are the odds of Chiles? They said, what do you think of the odds of Chiles going in the portal? And I said, well, when all bets are off, when the coach get fired, I think that's gonna happen. I think the coach is gonna get fired, and what's the reason to stick around at that point if you Nick Chiles? I mean, if you Nick Marsh. So, we'll see how it goes. But I would be shocked at that point. If you are him, you're trying to up your draft. You want to win. B, you want to get your draft stock up. You want to do both. Are you going to be able to accomplish either one of those goals at Michigan State? I mean, that would be my logic. So
I'm going somewhere where they're throwing the football. I can show my skill set. Just that simple. If you're trying to up your draft choice, you need to be in a passing offense.
All right. Here's one for you, Vance. Vance, we just answered that one. This was the one. Jay Marion said, Coach, your reaction when Suge dropped that pick 6 at the beginning of the game?
It's two things. Just my opinion. He shouldn't have been where he was. Because the slant was what that can't catch that slant now. It's on the safety. He should have been squeezing that receiver more. Technically, from a coach's standpoint, he was beat. He was a cloud corner. He was beat like a cone. And then he just dropped the ball. I mean, that's why he's playing corner, because he got no hands. But again, I'm going back to, he was not where he was supposed to be, in my opinion, because he gave up the slant. They were in a 2-fire, Sam. They was in a 2-fire. He should have been square up and down the line of scrimmage to flatten that guy out. And he didn't do that. He opened up and gave the slant away right now. Just a coach's opinion. So because he did wrong, he should have intercepted that football. Now, his coach might be saying something different, but from my perspective, running 2-fires, guess what he can't give up? He can't give up no slant. Because there's nobody in there, Sam. Because the backer was coming, had the slant on number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get a minus, Sam. He got a double minus.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, this is what you get from Vance. This was the question about, from Mel Cheese. Yeah, he's like, he said, hey, Sam, is there any chance Nick Marshall transfer to Michigan next season? Listen, man, I believe that this offseason, Michigan is going to be a major player in the transfer portal receiver market for the top receivers in the portal. And so if Nick Marsh is in the portal, if he is at the top of the heap, I think Michigan will be in the mix. But if there are receivers better than Nick Marsh in the portal, I think Michigan's going to be in on them too. Point being, whoever the top receivers in the portal are, make no mistake, Michigan will be after them.
Sam, is Marsh from the state of Michigan?
Yes, he is.
I'm going after a homegrown kid first. If he's a baller, I am going after a homegrown kid first. Because guess what? NIL is important, but his family can come see him easily too. You have a better chance with a homegrown kid than going far away.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a new era, which I'm not familiar with. So that's just the old philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think they will, though. So, I mean, he jumps in there and he has a relationship. They goes back with Bryce too. But I'm just telling y'all, I'm not. You'll know when I'm guessing. I'll tell you when I'm guessing. Right? I'm not guessing. Okay. Kobe Nichols says, Vance, it's imperative to play complementary offensive and defensive football. About those special teams in there too, because special teams can set you back. But it's complementary football, offensive and defensive football. Can we agree that the defense looked much better simply because the offense also had a good day? We keep putting so much on the D. To me, it was nice to see both sides of the ball do well.
The game of football is a complementary game. When the offense plays better, it helps the defense out. My dad used to always say the best defense he ever been around is when they're on the sideline because the offense was controlling the game. There's a lot of truth to that. If your offense is going out there 3 plays and out, unless you great, like last year, I thought the defense played great because the offense was that bad, but you had special players. This year you don't. So the defense needs some help from the offense. And we got that. We moved the ball. We took time off the clock. So it helped the defense out quite a bit because if you can get the defense on the sideline, get them fresh and coach them up and make adjustments and corrections, they're going to play better. You go against some other games, the offense is 3 plays and out in a minute and 15 seconds. There's no adjustments. You can't make any corrections, and it hurts the defense. So that is you are correct on that statement.
Jeff Charamita, appreciate the super chat. Vance, I don't see enough swarming to the ball. Like we are still a step behind. What am I missing?
It was better this game than last game. What we're finding out is when people spread us out, they throw the ball outside, you might see 1, maybe 2 guys in the camera because it's a wide throw. And we've been getting more of that in that situation. That's why we've been having some problems. So it doesn't appear like they're running to the football because where the ball's being thrown, but they get into the football. The pursuit, the angles were better in this ball game than what it was versus USC. And USC, and I said this when we did the breakdown, our players look confused. This week against Washington, our players did not look confused, and they played a lot faster. Why? Because we simplified the game plan. We cut back.
Okay. Tyler W8496 says, why is Derek Moore so limited snap-wise? He's talking about the rotation.
It's the rotation. I mean, right now we're playing 1, 2, 3. We're playing 4, sometimes 5 guys. And again, I would love to ask the DN coach that myself. I mean, I don't know if he's hurt or the other guys are playing just as well. But you had a guy who was here last year, and TJ guy also did some good things. And right now they're on the sideline. I don't have an answer to that. But this last ball game versus Washington, Moore made some key plays, which means it's a good chance you will see more of him playing. And number 33 played a little bit against USC. He played more in this game. I'm looking, who is that guy? I had no idea who he was, Sam. He played more snaps than what I had seen in the previous few ball games.
Mm-hmm. All right. Hog Nuts 7421 says, Sam and Vance, we've been chasing jersey numbers since Peppers was here. When will our DB coaches teach them how to keep their man in front of them and how to use the sideline as an extra man?
Hey. Oh my goodness. You know what? You say since Peppers was here, you're going way back.
Going way back.
He's going way back.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know what you're looking for on that one, but again, based off of what the scheme we're playing, the defensive plan, whether you're playing a trail technique or you backpedaling, for the most part, I haven't seen the same thing you're seeing. You know, this year you might see a little bit more of that than what we've seen in the past because we're playing some young guys. So we are chasing some tails this year, more so than we have seen in the past.
Well, I mean, I've seen the other complaint. I've seen people say, "Oh man, they playing too far off the receivers. They're leaving. They ain't playing aggressive enough."
Sam, when you play defensive back, you're always wrong with a fan sitting in the stands. I was play DB and a DB coach. No matter what I did was wrong. Well, how come he don't play the ball? Well, how come he doing this? You can't win that battle, Sam. You can't win that battle. As long as we're not giving up long touchdown passes, we okay, Sam. We okay.
Yeah, man. All right. Couple more for Van. So Jay Marion is back on Jimmy Roller. Is Roller hitting the offensive lineman part of the stunt to free the end in this system?
The things I've been seeing, he's just been rushing a gap. You know, going back to the USC game and prior to that, they were doing either a Mike stunt or a Will stunt. In other words, they would hit the A or B gap, which was open to their side, and the defensive front would angle. So he has not been doing that, to be honest. I mean, I've seen that stunt with a defensive tackle and a defensive end, but not with the linebackers. I haven't recognized that so far this season. Like I say, he's just not a natural blitzer. He has a tendency to rush right down the middle of guys instead of getting on the edge. And that's my thing with him as a blitzer. He doesn't appear to be a great blitzer.
All right. Yeah, if I didn't say Nick Marsh, I might have said Nick Chiles once. Yeah, I meant Nick Marsh for sure. For sure is who I was talking about. The receiver from River Rouge. Yeah, so he's a dude with relationships on this staff, and I know Ron recruited him. So he'd definitely be a guy. But listen, I just they're the only receivers that I think wouldn't be on the radar would be receivers at Ohio State. I would venture a guess that everybody else in the country would be on the radar. Because, I mean, guys everywhere kind of assess their options, given the musical chairs with coaches kind of moving around. You got all of these job openings that are going to happen head coaching wise. And so head coaches are going to be on the move, assistants are going to be on the move, and NIL is going to compel. And so, yeah, the only guys that I think, the only rosters that I wouldn't look at as far as receiver options for Michigan would be Ohio State. And after that, the limitation would be no upperclassmen. You know, Michigan can't take juniors or seniors, but other than that, freshmen, sophomores, or grad transfers, any guy who is coming off his freshman or sophomore campaign or is a grad transfer, any school in the country.
I'd be looking at LSU because if that man loses another game, they're going to run him out of LSU.
Come on, man.
You know I'm telling you the truth. They win I can't win a championship with Notre Dame. Notre Dame played for a national championship. And he losing every time you look around. You know they got some athletes down there at LSU. That's who I'll be looking at. They're going to have some guys.
Well, he said we couldn't get OSU's 5-star bench sitting wide receivers. I just think that it's a bit hard to get guys from Ohio State to consider Michigan and vice versa. I wouldn't rule it's not impossible. It's just, you know.
Hey, if I'm at Ohio State as a wide receiver, I'm going to sit my turn. You know why? They got first, second round picks for the past 8 years. I'm not leaving. I'm not being honest. You got a quarterback who's a freshman throwing for 300 yards a game. I am not leaving because when my time come up, I'm going to be first or second round draft pick. The proof is in the pudding.
You know, unless you're that guy. Like my man J-Mo, J-Mo with the Detroit Lions said, man, I'm not sitting up here at Oak State. I'm about to go to Bama and be a first-round pick, which he did. So, you know, you just got to know you that guy.
That's right.
Got to know you that guy. So, I think, you know, we got a few more. Want to make sure that they're not repetitive. Real quick. Let me see. I think that we'll wrap it up. So, Vance, how about we wrap things up? You talked about Michigan State a bit, but give us your, to recap for those who are just joining, your a few keys to victory versus Michigan State in your winner and score.
We need to win on first down again. Our front six, the D-line and our 2 linebackers, they need to be able to stop the run. We're going to be in through our quarter half or cover 2 most of the game. And when we're in those coverages, we need to protect down the middle of the field. From first thing is 4 vertical, which was open about 3 times in this game. Anything between the hashes, a squaring route. And we do those things, I think we should win this game 35-17.
35-17. Okay.
But I'm putting a lot of pressure on the guys up front in this ball game. I'm counting on them to play better than what they did versus Washington. And I gave my A versus the Washington game. Okay. I'm looking for an A+ in this ball game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. He's fired, by the way. 35-17. I think he's done with just a loss. He might get fired at when the game's over. 35-17.
And it's a nighttime game too, right, Sam?
It's a night game too. Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be cold. Technically, you should be running the football when it's cold, but they can't run against that. If they run our defensive front, I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. So
our guys, I'll be shocked.
You know, this would be funny. French Toast said, "Can we fund the stream to get Coach Vance and Coach Borges to play Madden against one another? That would be quite dope. But the way you would do it wouldn't be, because Vance, have you played video games?"
I don't, Sam.
All right. And I know Al don't play no video games, but what you could do is get a video game player and you tell him what defense to play, and Al tell him what offense to play. You could do that.
The problem playing against Al, though, it might take him 30 minutes to run a play because he has to diagnose everything like his chess and trying to look at 5 plays ahead. But what is Vance going to do? And this situation, the clock going to run out.
But that would be cool to have him call plays against one another as opposed to actually doing the gameplay. That would be cool. And somebody wanted to give you a shout out, Vance. Andres Martinez said, "Shout out to Louisville for Vance. They went and took care of Miami." You know,
when they play at home now, they pack the stands there. I got on the fans, I think my second year there, about get on the train and get out of the way. the next week, Sam, standing room only, baby. I got the fans in the seats.
Yeah, man, I hear that. Yeah, shout out to Coach E. Rod had his boys playing, picked the old boy off, picked the quarterback off 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Had him look like he was back at Georgia when he was throwing all them picks. So, great stuff as always, Vance. Looking forward to the game. Hopefully they take care of Sparty like they have the past few years. We can come back next week, talk all about it. We'll probably be talking about a coach who's on the who's looking for a realtor. You know, I don't know if you know any realtors out there, Vance, but
you're gonna have an estate sale right here. Everything is on for sale.
Hey, I think Oregon State. I think they're looking for a coach again. He can probably go back to Oregon State, get that job.
They're looking for a coach, Sam. They fired their guy this past weekend.
Yeah, he said, "I come back home." Yeah, he go back out to Oregon State. So there you go. Problem solved, Jonathan. There you go. At any rate, folks, that's going to do it for us on another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown focused on the defense. We'll see you next week.
Go Blue.